What's going on, guys? It's your boy Adam Arif from Beyond Educated. Today we're going to be talking about what should you be able to bench press. What should you be able to lift as a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old? What should you be able to lift as a proportion of your body weight according to your strength and the amount of time that you've been training? As with these videos, I always like to give you a bit of a tour and a little bit of an update first. It's my office. I'm sure you've all seen that before if you're not new to the channel. One of the first things I wanted to say is, one of the reasons I'm making this video is because my bench press, I consider it to be pretty weak considering the amount of training and time that I put in, and it's one of the areas that I really struggle to grow on. Do me a favour and drop down below what your weight is, if you have done and you know, and what your bench press is, because I'd just be curious to see from the fitness people that I follow out there what kind of weights you're lifting according to body weight. It'd be really interesting. So guys, what's going on? So you want to improve your bench pressing, or you're just here to find out what the average kind of person bench press is. So I've done a little bit of research on this, and based on my own experience, I've kind of come to this conclusion really. Bench pressing is going to be a system all about being able to lift as much weight off your chest as you can, and it's going to be factor dependent on your experience, your density of muscle fibers, how you're genetically predisposed to have a different arrangements of the way that your body is shaped, your muscles in your triceps, because it's heavily tricep focused, your front deltoids to some extent. And so as splitting it down into three different sections, we're looking at beginner, intermediate and advanced, and then we've got elite. So beginner, I would say if you're getting new to the gym, really, you should expect to, if you're in your 20s to 30s or even up to 40, I would expect as a minimum really that you should be bench pressing your body weight. And the reason we do body weight instead of actually just suggesting where you should bench press 200 kg or whatever it is, or 100 kg, 225 pounds, is because everyone weighs different, and you can't really compare the same way you can't do for example, boxing, chuck a big heavyweight in with a lightweight, because it's unfair. So you have to really go on bench pressing on focusing on what you're lifting as a proportion of your body weight. So that's what we're going to focus on, as opposed to actually what should you be at a bench press where you should be able to bench press 150 kgs. It doesn't necessarily work like that. I'll talk a little bit about how that's different when you start getting to elite lifters. So ultimately, if you are a beginner, you should be looking to bench press at least your body weight. So for me, if I'm 80 kgs, I should be able to do an 80 kg bench press for 1 rep. Also recommend that when you're doing your bench pressing, you actually doing 3 reps rather than your 1 rep max. This avoids injury, and also it gives you a kind of better gauge of what you can actually do rather than cheating, because you could probably cheat for 1 rep, but unlikely you'll be able to cheat for 3 reps. So I always recommend doing that. But today, for the purpose of this video, we're talking about 1 rep max. But when you're building, it's always so good to kind of focus on your improvements. 3 rep max range. Intermediates should be doing about 1.25% of your body weight. This is where I am. So for me, it's about 100 kgs or 225 pounds, I think, roughly, in terms of my 1 rep max. If you're 100 kgs, again, you'd be looking at 125 kilos in terms of your lift. So that's kind of where you should be benchmarking that at. For your advanced lifters, you should be looking at about 1.5 times your body weight. So anyone that's 100 kgs that's lifting, if you consider yourself advanced, then you should expect to be lifting 150 kilos. So again, that's how we're kind of measuring it. So if you're interested in working out kind of where you should be, if you're progressing well, if you're intermediate, if you're advanced, if you need to do more or less, then really use that as a rough guide mark, benchmark. But then you've got elite lifters. Now the main difference being with elite lifters is that they're probably really strong in terms of their genetic predisposition to have strength, but they're also probably going to be really strong in terms of their conditioning, training and everything else. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, Blaine Sumner is the person that owns the current bench press record of 401 kilograms, and his weight is around 170 kilos. So he's 6'2" and he weighs around 170 kilos according to that, which is actually a phenomenal, ridiculous weight. Nevertheless, he's still bench pressing 2.5 times his body weight. So that's the difference that you can expect with an elite lifter. You'll go from beginner to intermediate to advanced, but when you start getting to elite, you start getting to crazy, silly numbers. If you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. I hope you've learned something today from the video that you can take away. And remember guys, as ever, stay educated.
Second.